I'm just going to try to talk for a bit. Water and seed. It's really it's really funny. My voice sounds strange. It's really funny to realise what I said. Thank you for listening to my words. I wanted to say doing me the honour of listening to my words, and then I thought, does that sound a bit too formal? I'm so careful. I'm so careful all the time with everything. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Careful. That sounds like a positive. The thing is, I had this sort of day where it was like a dark night of the soul, but in the day. I don't know if a dark night of the soul is supposed to be in the dark of night. I had this dark night of the soul today, and I really wanted to try and express things and try and make sense of all the things I was trying to piece together. I wanted some sort of sense of peace and clarity, and I don't know why my voice sounds like this, sorry. I couldn't get there, and I decided to talk about not being able to express myself. In the past, sometimes I get stuck for quite a long time, and in the past I was stuck for a few weeks, and then I described to a friend that feeling of being stuck. I described the sort of somatic experience I was having with feeling stuck, and then I didn't feel stuck anymore. So I think that's what I was trying to do today with talking about not being able to express myself. It's so uncomfortable and painful being me, and I'm so careful all the time. And yeah, so back to the point I was going to say, it was funny that Mark analysed my words. When I wasn't being careful, I said these deep reflections, because I didn't think that through, I just came out with it. But he's looked at my words and analysed it, and it's so helpful. The words that I said when I wasn't taking so much care are actually very, they can give me an insight to what to do and what I'm really going through right now. And that's funny because I'm on the cusp of studying linguistics in September. So I do a lot of studying what people are saying and reading things into the words they choose and the way that they answer questions, and it's really interesting to me. I've been studying it for a while, and I'm going to study it formally, hopefully. That's my plan. So it was good to have it done to me. It was really refreshing. Thank you. Lots of things that you said were really helpful. One of the things that was helpful was the seed, and I want to stop pressurizing myself. I know that my problem is putting so much pressure on myself all the time. Pushing myself. It's very violent, and probably the opposite of the way I treat other people. I push myself, and I think that's partly why I have so much pain from not being able to express everything that I experience, and not being able to explain all my ideas straight away and directly, and not being able to share knowledge I have. The idea of the seed, and the unexpressed parts of me, there's a lot of them. It's sort of the opposite of how I live, so it's no wonder I don't really feel well. I realised when I did start to learn how to speak, it was when I did Gail Larson's Transformational Speaking. I did an online version of the course with her, and I found out that if I could do anything, what I would be doing is singing and dancing on a stage, performing musicals. And if you saw how I behave in my life, it's like people think of me as like very reserved. I don't know, I probably need an update on this from what people think of me, but I come across as a quiet sort of person. But I'm not. I'm a scared person. So I'm just doubting myself now, because my self-concept is something I'm working on. The seed. So the seed is reassuring to me, because if I have the seeds of, let's say, things I haven't been able to express that are important to me, like voicing my anger for good, or singing and dancing to make people laugh. I have the seeds, and I might never be able to go into the potential of those and actually grow them within my lifetime. When I was at Tatton Park a few days ago, which I made a video about some trees that I met along the way, a couple made conversation with me just after that, and one of them said the people that planted these trees didn't see this. They didn't see them in this, like, how massive they are now and the full glory they've grown into. We were talking about those kind of things. Well, some of the things that I don't have to push myself and force myself to overcome every challenge and every obstacle and do everything in my lifetime. The seed is a start, and the seed is the silent but powerful essence of something, which is going to take time. And the way that Jean Hader talks about the seed in the water element, she says we wouldn't plant seeds and then run outside and start yanking them and saying, like, come on, grow. It takes time and patience, and I suppose I want to talk about ancestors and passing things down the family line. It can be through our family, and it could be in the lives that we touch, because we do have an impact. That's another separate thing I want to talk about. we're interconnected whether we like it or not. I have things to say about that, but I'll get around to it maybe. My mum's dad was in Palestine. He was in the police. And last year I took my children to Lytham. It was our first proper little holiday. And we stayed in a converted barn. And at night time, when my children had gone to bed, I wanted to write something out. I wanted to write something because I was feeling some emotions and I wanted to try and move them. So I was glancing along the bookshelves. There was on the right hand side a bookcase of children's books, and on the left hand side a bookcase of adults' books, and in the middle of that there was the kind of Juliet balcony. There was a sort of patio door, but we were upstairs and it was open onto some fields. And I glanced across the books on the shelf and just picked something that looked big enough to lean on. I just picked it out. I was sort of like looking for something in a practical sense that wouldn't be too little for me to lean a piece of A4 paper on to write something, so that I didn't get the grain of the table, when I started writing. And I picked out a book, and it said Palestine. It's Policing the Holy Land. I just went like totally, when you just know something is happening. I just started opening the book and looking through it, and there was a picture of my granddad. He's my Grampy. We used to call it, well, we would have called him Grampy, but I was too young to, to be saying his name. But he passed away when I was about 2. I don't know if I could talk or not, because I was a mute anyway. So I don't know if I ever said Grampy's name. But anyway, he was Grampy. There was a picture of him in Palestine. There might have been more than one. I found a picture of him which I'd never seen, and I don't think my family have seen it. And it was him riding a motorbike in Palestine. It turned out the owner of the Airbnb is the editor of a magazine about the police force who worked in Palestine when it was formed. So he looked up Grampy. His name was Charles Francis Webb, and he sent me a picture of Grampy in his uniform. I've had this connection with that granddad that I've always felt. There's just some sort of soul purpose continued. He spoke Arabic, apparently. He was in Palestine. My nana loved him so much. When I asked her ever, what was Grampy like? She had tears in her eyes every time, and she just kept trying to speak through the tears in her eyes, and then she just used to say, he was lovely. She couldn't talk about him. She was just so touched to just think about him. She just always used to say he was lovely. And then she started, trying not to cry, and then we'd just carry on with what we were doing. There's a couple of nice things to show you here. I'm just going to take it this way a sec. he decided to stretch out there. And that's me and my dad in Portmeirion on the photo. And then this was what I made the other day. I wanted to mention something on here. This photo was in the Countess of Chester Hospital. That's my daughter when I gave birth to my daughter, and that's my dad. And that was September 2015. I was there, and the experience I had in the Countess of Chester in September 2015, it was a psychic attack I experienced. It was really awful. I could hear. Oops, let me try and put this back down somewhere. I could hear. I didn't know it was about Lucy Letby. Her name wasn't sort of in the public as such. I could hear this. It was sort of whispering and talking, and I could hear it on both sides of my head. So I could hear it this side of on this ear, and then I could hear it on this ear. Sorry, I don't want to put myself on the camera. That's what I'm trying to show you in front. So I could hear this these conversations happening about her, and accusatory conversations and whisperings, but not just whisperings. It was also loud, and it was evil. It was really intense, and it was like a crossover because there were so many people talking about her that it was like multiple conversations going on at once, and I could hear it. And when I say I could hear it, I mean I could physically hear it, even though it wasn't happening next to me. But that's the experience I have sometimes when I'm psychically sort of overhearing or tuning into something. And I kept hearing it for, how many days was that actually? Because I was going to say 2 days, but the thing is, when I got back to my parents' house, I was still hearing it. So it was more than 2 days. I could just hear this. I could hear these lies. I could hear the lies. I could hear these accusations, and I could hear it, and it was secretive, and it was going on, and it was sort of crossing over each other. It was very, very intense. So when I found out that where she'd been, and that was when she must have been going through all that stuff. She'd been going through it for so long already at that point. It was, I'm really sorry she had to go through that. I just think of her now. I'm just putting my hand on my heart and thinking of Lucy, and maybe we can all do the same. Just connect to her a little bit with love.